All right, Ike. Well, this week you have a news item that you found underneath a desk. It slipped under there at some point. We meant to bring it up, but so it might be slightly out of date, but I think still newsworthy.
Yeah, that's true. I have a friend. Her name is Pia McIsaac, formerly Pia Riva, Italian Olympic skier in the 1960 Olympics. And she has a 1965 Series 2A that she drives. We've done a little work on it, and she drives it regularly. She lives in California, has a big ranch down there. Anyway, super cool lady, super nice. I like her a lot. She's featured in a recent documentary about the 1960 Olympics in Squaw Valley called Magic in the Mountains.
Okay.
And I vaguely recalled that she told me, at one of her skiing events that, there were Land Rovers there and they were ferrying the athletes and she got excited about them, and she's, had Land Rovers ever since. What I didn't know is it was the 1960 Olympics.
Right.
And so
it was a minute ago. Well, that's all right.
It's
still news.
But
it's still news.
Yeah, I think what's newsworthy is that this film has recently come out, and if you like that sort of thing, it's a little documentary. You can view it online. But I was watching the film, and I realized that the event that she was talking about, and it was this event, and I had not heard this before, but Land Rover apparently, either donated vehicles for the event or sponsored the event. I'm not sure exactly what the nature was, but Land Rovers were used pretty extensively in the event, and they appear in a few places throughout the films. And you can see that they've made specially built platforms on top of the cars so that CBS, which was, I think, the first televised Olympics, like live broadcasted Olympics.
I mean, 1960s, certainly that would have been, very much at the dawn of live sports
broadcasting.
Like sure.
Yeah. So they put these filming platforms on the cars, and then used them for ferrying staff. And so I found some pictures online. We'll put that up on our
put that on the
Instagram and so forth. But pretty neat, pretty interesting. I also ran across online one of these vehicles that had come up for sale just a few years ago. And that history was known. Yeah. It was a yellow 88.
Yeah.
And they had advertised it as having been part of the Olympics in Squaw Valley.
Oh, cool. Did it still have the filming platform on the roof, or that is long gone?
It didn't. No, that was gone. Or maybe it wasn't there on that particular vehicle. I don't know if they added it to all of them.
Right.
But that particular one didn't have it. And I wonder how many others are out there. In some of the pictures, you can see that they have logos on the doors and some on the fenders.
Cool.
It's not exactly clear on what the logos say. Maybe one's a Land Rover oval. Maybe one's a CBS logo, something like that. They had a special, CBS broadcasting logo for that Olympics. One thing that's also interesting, another tie-in or another connection with Land Rovers, is that this particular Olympic event or Olympics was, the production and the opening ceremonies and a lot of the pageantry was Disney. Disney was in charge of that. And
huge, of course, fan of the Land Rovers.
Yeah. Disney was actually interested in Land Rovers, and they used Land Rovers extensively in the construction of Disneyland there in Florida.
Disney World in Florida. Yeah,
is it Disney World?
It's Disney World in Florida. Yeah, it is confusing. Euro Disney, I thought for a long time was in Anaheim. As it turns out, it's in Europe. But I lust after a Disney World Land Rover. With that super cool Disney World construction team logo. There's been an Imagineering documentary series on Disney Plus, which is a fantastic watch for anybody who likes engineering in general, and certainly Disney engineering. And they have so much footage of the Disneys, Roy Disney and Walt Disney, driving around the yet-to-be theme park in Florida in those Land Rovers. And, it's super cool old, 60s, 70s film footage. And I think Disney World is like from the late 70s, right? I think is when they built it, something like that, right? Late 70s, early 80s, 60s, yeah. And so they've 60s. Got, great old cars and the neat old Disney logo, and every different department got its own little Disney designed logo, and the Disney construction department one is just really cool. It has this sort of hard hat thing on it.
When
really
you have a warehouse full of artists on staff,
just everything gets a logo.
Logos for everything.
Yeah, everything gets a logo. Yeah, no, they're super cool, and I don't know. I mean, if they're still in Florida, I don't know that there's much left of them. But yeah, I imagine they were probably used on the property there forever, because Disney tends to just recycle that stuff. Things that were from Disney World went to Disneyland and vice versa, and so they don't throw a lot of stuff away. They just use it until there's nothing left of it, and then they, I don't know, the shoes.
There's still a number of Land Rovers that are used sort of decoratively at the theme park there. I think it's like some safari area and some other area. They've got several Land Rovers. People send me pictures of that.
There's a whole bunch of perforated landing mat, of aluminum perforated landing mat that makes up like fences and all kinds of, like, that stuff is so expensive now to go out and find it, because people love to use it as sand ladders. And it was the original Max Trax, and they use it like decoratively all over the park, which is, you sort of just want to pry a piece off and take off with it, because they're expensive. That aluminum, especially landing mat, is not cheap, and it's hard to find now. It used to be really easy. I'm sure back in the 70s when they built that place, 60s and 70s, it was nearly free. But
I can remember when I was in high school and I had my first Land Rover, and I found some of that landing mat, and it wasn't aluminum, it was steel, but I was still really excited about it because it looks the same. And I was like, this is going to be great on my car. And then I got some, and it was like 900 pounds a piece.
Yep. You definitely don't want the steel stuff. And there's some remanufactured stuff that sort of Mantech, I think, was making it for a little while, that kind of looked like the real deal, but it was again, I think there was steel, maybe there was aluminum as well. Yeah, but it's the steel stuff is ridiculously heavy. It's insane. It's rusty and dangerous and terrible. But the aluminum stuff is awesome, but really hard to find now. It's not easy. So speaking of really hard to find, what's happening in the old Pangolin 4x4 workshop this week?
Well, more Land Rovers are happening.
Oh, I see.
This week, putting together more vehicles. Let's see, more additional work on the 53 Sisquoc Ranch Land Rover.
That's a really cool one.
Yeah, that's a really cool one. There's a few little spots on the bulkhead, that have cracked over the years, and so we're TIG welding that stuff up, and just really going through and with a fine tooth comb and fixing all those condition issues before we put it back together. The engine is coming along. It's almost done. Just installed the new water pump on it today, and not a new water pump, a rebuilt water pump. It's the original aluminum casting. It's on the one.
Cool.
It's it's an 80-inch water pump, so it's that's going to be cool. And you feel not too many concessions to modernity. Mostly an original truck.
That's pretty cool.
I think the concession to modernity on that car is an oil filter instead of the element type.
Instead of the element type, yeah. It's a usability thing and a sourceability. And I think that that's a forgivable thing. I think it's so easy to undo and put back to the regular way. I don't think that's a big deal. You also have been doing a little work on a non-Land Rover. But one of my favorite non-Land Rovers. I mean, there's a lot that I love, but these little guys I particularly love.
Don't tell anyone, but I have a Suzuki that I like, and it's called an LJ81, and it's a small little pickup truck. It's a tiny pickup truck. It's a bonneted control, as they would call it in England. So it has a hood on the front. It's not like one of those Japanese mini trucks,
like a cab over.
It's similar in size. It's what they call a key car in Japan. So it's limited to a certain displacement and size. And this one is Suzuki's first 4-cylinder, 4-stroke engine. And it has about 40 horsepower. It's 800 cc's. It's an adorable little truck. Has a drop side pickup bed. It weighs about 1,600 pounds. It has right about 9.5 inches of ground clearance, so a little bit more than a Land Rover because it has a smaller, tiny little differential. It has a divorce transfer case. Goes about 60 miles an hour, gets about 35, 40 miles a gallon. Yeah. It's a neat little truck. The bed is about 4 feet square.
Yeah.
And it's 4-wheel drive. It has a little heater inside of it. It's got roll-up windows. It's really pretty usable, drivable little thing.
Like a slightly more grown-up LJ20, which is my favorite little 2-stroke go-kart car.
Same width as that. It's just a little bit longer wheelbase.
Looks like it is the same. A lot of some of the similar panels. It looks like the hood and the grill and stuff might be the same as the LJ20.
If you look closely, you'll see that the hood has a little ventilator at the front edge on an LJ80, and there are 2 lights in the fenders instead of just 1 light in the fender. So it has a marker light and a signal light on an LJ80. Right. But it's kind of interesting. A little bit of Land Rover tie-in. Land Rover, I'm told, did. Some of the Land Rover engineers did some consulting work on the LJ development, and so it has a lot of Land Rover features. They have a box section ladder chassis. They have little tiny swivel balls, little tiny dropout third member differentials. Yeah, it really is. It does have a lot of like echoing Land Rover engineering in the vehicle. The technical literature is really good for these cars. They sold them in Australia under the Stockman name, I think, and throughout South America. Here in the United States, they only sold them Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Guam. So most of them are gone.
Yeah, just totally gone.
And I happened to find one. This guy had one in Indiana. He was unfortunately named Gary Potter.
What?
And
Wait, Gary Potter of Indiana? Potter. Where did he live in Indiana?
I think it was like Podwarts or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
At any rate, he got it out of Mexico, and I drove it for a while. When I moved here to Oregon, I sold it thinking that like there's lots of old cars in Oregon. I'll just buy another one, but very difficult to find another one. Then I found one. Another Land Rover tie-in with these cars is that both were made in the same factory, Land Rovers and Suzuki's, because Santana sold both.
Of course they did.
They sold both Suzuki's and Land Rovers, and so there's pictures of them being assembled in the same factory in Spain. So I wish Land Rover made something of this scale and size, but because they don't, I have a Suzuki.
That makes sense. It's like a little mini 80. I think that's totally fine. I love them a lot. I wanted an LJ20 for a long time. I had a friend growing up in Canmore that had an LJ20 that could just barely get up the mountain-sized hill that I lived on. And, that little two-stroke, like you could almost hear him when he left the town and was coming up the hill. It was a little up the hill. It was fantastic.
They're adorable. Yeah. They're really actually pretty low geared, and they fit in the back of a pickup truck like a standard American pickup.
We definitely lifted his out of a snowbank with like 3 people, like no problem. Like a little bit of a lift and push, and that sucker was out, no problem. It was a ton of fun. And it would really kind of like bomb over snowbanks. Like you couldn't really get it stuck because it kind of like wasn't heavy enough unless it just got completely, prevented from going forward. That was really the only thing that would get it stuck. So.
And they have great ground clearance. They have 16-inch wheels. They're cool. Yeah, neat little trucks. And
he had big knobby tires on it. Stuff. It was big for that car. It was a great car. So an update on I know everybody has recently seen my Instagram post on answering the mystery of does a Link table saw belt work to drive your air conditioning? And the answer is for about like 150 miles, and then at the hottest part of the day on the freeway, it will snap and your air conditioning will stop working. Now, it didn't snap. It just came apart because it sort of melted. And I think it was heat that was ultimately the enemy of this particular fix. I do, though, stand by the fact that I still am going to keep one in my spares box where, by the way, I did have an actual air conditioning belt just as a matter of course. But anyways.
They sell temporary belts with that same design that are designed for automotive use. Yeah, but you could also just buy a spare belt.
I did have a spare belt. Yeah, I just didn't want to take off the. I don't have a mechanical fan on the Defender. I have electric fans, but I just didn't want to take the water pump belt off to get to that belt. And I figured I'd give it a go, and we would see. So it will work for sure for a short amount of time. But when it's 90 degrees outside and you're running everything full out at 100 miles an hour, well, let's be honest, it doesn't go 100 miles an hour, but 80 miles an hour, that's a bit much for it, and probably enough. But it would certainly be enough to get you out of a jam or to the next place where you have a couple of friends. And in my case, good old Ed Testa was there to help me take off the water pump belt and then put on the belts properly. And now it's fixed for jam. Yeah.
I like jam, even preserves. So who do we have on the show today?
Well, we are lucky to have our good friend, our good buddy Joe from the Lost Cause Ranch, which is a great YouTube channel, great Instagram account, fan of our podcast, which, nobody's perfect, and owner of the 475 Nada, as an Eco Challenge Disco, builds LS conversion, both Discoveries and Defenders. All around fun guy, great to talk to. And listener requested one of our patrons ask for more content about the Discovery and Discovery 2. And as Ike and I are not exactly experts in that field, we brought in an expert from outside, Joe, to talk about it. So let's throw some grape jelly into the interview machine and rev that up and get Joe on the show.
All right, here we go.
All right. Well, we are thrilled to be joined by YouTube Land Rover celebrity and host of and member of the Lost Cause Ranch. Joe, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. It's a thrill to chat with you this afternoon.
Awesome. Happy to be here, guys.
All right. So, Joe, as you know, we ask everyone a sort of pre-canned set of Land Rover questions to calibrate the audience to your, sort of region of the Green Oval. So, first of all, as we ask this of everyone to try to determine this general psychosis we all seem to be under, why, of all of the brands in the world, have you decided that the Land Rover is the one that you like?
Well, so started off with it being, obviously we're in the car business, third generation. Mm-hmm. We've been used car dealers for 15 years now or so. And a lot of people don't know, but Ted is actually my brother.
I was going to ask that. I have that as a question. Is Ted your brother?
So we won't get into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ted is my brother.
Yeah.
We kept that pretty under. That's just released for the Underpowered hour.
Regardless, Jerry McGovern would think you were brothers, even if you're not. It doesn't matter. To him, any two people standing beside each other are brothers. So, but it's good to know that you guys are actually brothers. There is a resemblance, definitely. So,
and ironically, the first Land Rover in the family was my younger brother, who is not in the car business. He's the smart one of the family. Mm-hmm. But that was a D1. He wanted something that was a Jeep, mm-hmm. but a Discovery was cheaper. So we got him that, found him one of those. And that's the one, he took it out. So originally he took that out after he got it and did what a 16-year-old kid does and took it into a retention basin. Uh-huh. And got it stuck and found out how great the Land Rover automatic transmissions are and ruined a transmission. Uh-huh. So we quickly had to learn how to work on Land Rovers, replace transmission, learn that they want you to use every tool in your box and different bolt sizes. Almost lost two brothers over that deal, but we moved on. Mm-hmm. And we just continue to buy them because they were $500 to $700 at the auctions. We got a ton of Discovery 2s, and that was back in the era where no one wanted them.
Right.
And we're in the Midwest.
How long ago would you say that is in the era?
10 years ago.
Okay.
Probably about 10 years ago. And we're in the Midwest. We have salt. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Discovery 2s don't like salt. Oh, that's between the roof's rusting and the rear frame.
Now, we have a lot of rust-free $500 Discovery 2s here. Have you thought about buying them out here and just shipping them back?
Well, that would be too easy.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. I don't know if you saw the video of the donor frame of the Defender that you guys are building, the LS Swap Defender, and have that new galvanized chassis. The left side of the rear box of the frame is just missing. I don't know if it's somewhere else, but it was amazing.
We have it. Yeah. It's hung on the wall.
Okay, I was going to say.
It's just not there.
Decorative.
But and there's where we feel it's our right to do LS swaps and everything on these because we're taking ones that
is that in the Constitution?
Yeah, it's in the Constitution.
That's in the Constitution. It's your right to do it.
It's our right.
Federally protected.
We're taking ones that you would throw away out there.
That was a James Madison for sure. He was he was staunchly for frame swapping. That was totally, very important.
Swapping.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, that's great. So why you've got that covered? So what then? Currently, here's a question we ask. Is if you could have any Land Rover, that has ever been or will ever be, what Land Rover would be? You can only put one of them in your garage. What's the one that you decide is the sort of ultimate Land Rover for you?
The ultimate Land Rover. The one I want to say is the Freelander SE3.
Oh man, I want one so bad.
But no,
there's one in Washington right now. I keep sending me Freelanders, that are for sale, and like one of these days we're going to do the Underpowered Our company car, and it's without question, going to be a Freelander. No question.
That is the one missing from the collection. But no,
gotta get it.
Right now,
leaf sprung Freelander with a 2 1/4.
I love it.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
I'm on board.
We're going to swap it the other way. Yeah.
It's going to be great.
As the Porsche people do, backdate it.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to backdate a Freelander to like Series 2A era. Yeah.
Yeah, backdate the drivetrain. That's what Porsche guys like.
That's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I would probably say like I'm in love with the 5-liter LR4 right now, and that's what I drive every day. And once you take care of the timing chain issue, they're great vehicles. So
yeah, I know a lot of people with that sort of LR4 Discovery 4, and it's a nice car. They did that was a high watermark, I think, for the Discovery. I've owned a Discovery 5. Technically they're a great car. Mechanically they're fine. The windshields all leak apparently, but styling wise, I think it was certainly a pretty radical left turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do fancy an LR4 and 3 and 4. Those are a good looking car, and that's good. So, what Land Rovers do you have? And you guys obviously have quite an interesting stable, being in the Land Rover business. You have more than your average duck. But what Land Rovers do you currently have?
So we got a pile of just general Discovery 2s. We won't get into those too much, but we did just pick up earlier this year a G4 Challenge Discovery 2 that was through a major hailstorm. That's getting rebuilt now.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
We have a Defender 90 that we're doing a LS3 swap to. That's the rusty one that was missing bits of the chassis. Yeah. But don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry. That's fine.
That's normal.
We also just picked up. Yeah, that's normal. That's what they do. Just picked up number 475, the Nada 109, and that's how we met you guys. And we have number 59 on the way currently as well.
Oh, cool. So wow, that's great. That's great.
On its way. Yeah.
And does 475 doesn't have the original Land Rover 6 in it? Does the other one?
The other one does.
Oh, cool.
So that's why we grabbed that one.
Yeah.
It has been parted out a little bit, but engine's there, transmission's gone, but we'll find something for that.
So are you going to reconstruct both of those vehicles or make one out of two, or what's your plan?
Reconstruct both eventually. So
cool.
We're waiting to see how 59 is when it shows up, and we'll see which one we kind of tackle first. Ted's also, we have a 88 2A as well that ahead of those two. So that one's going to be quite not your guys' style and won't be what is original left on that.
What is my style? Just out of curiosity.
I think you like to fix things the way they're supposed to be, from what I've gathered.
I do like to fix things the way they're supposed to be, but I've been known to put disc brakes and power steering and directions in cars as well.
I did see you put AC in.
I have put air conditioning in the series Land Rover.
But the difference is that Ike doesn't like it when he does that. He feels it's a dirty feeling when he does it. He doesn't like
everything. We have has wheels with too big of holes for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, to be fair, Joe, I've tried to find a wheel hole ratio that Ike is happy with. I've been unable to do it. So it's been years now, and I've given up. It's not worth it.
Should be 5 holes. There's 5 holes in the wheel.
5, that's it.
There's 5 holes in the wheel. Actually, I take that back. There's 6. There's 5 for the lug nuts and 1 for the...
One for the hub.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Oh, what else we got? I got my daily driver LR4. Also have the Eco Challenge XD. Yeah. Which I'm trying to make my daily driver, but it's been fighting me.
I saw today's YouTube video had some steering issues that popped up. Or actually maybe some lack of steering issues is maybe a better way. Yeah.
The steering was missing as I pulled out of the driveway and just quit.
Yeah.
Next to our 5-speed Discovery that's of equal quality.
Yeah.
That we lowered from the tree.
Yes.
It was in a tree for a little bit.
That was a great video, winching the Discovery into a tree. Everybody has always wanted to try that, I think. You know, you look at the rating of pounds on your winch and you look at the weight of the vehicle and you're like, you could probably pull it straight up in the air. And few have done it. So it's great to see that.
We need to try it and get it off the ground next time.
Yeah, I had a military surplus Humvee for a long time, and my old workshop was coincidentally a military Quonset. It was an old bomb assembly building, so it was round, and there was a long-standing, a conversation with Chris, who doesn't listen to the show, about shooting a cable over top of the roof and seeing if we could winch the Humvee across the, because it would climb up the wall, but it would start slipping on the tin. It couldn't actually drive up. We were also concerned that it may just collapse the almost 100-year-old building, but it just couldn't quite get the traction. But if we had winched it, we probably could get it up onto the roof of the building, and then maybe just leave it there, because honestly that was about all it was good for. But we never got to it. So seeing a car winched up into a tree, though, definitely brought back memories of like, we should have winched it onto the roof. Damn it. So the little bit about the Lost Cause Ranch itself. So first of all, what's the history of that? I'm just interested to know the history of that name and where you guys, because I think it's I think it's a fantastic name. I'm a big fan. I have your sticker prominently on my toolbox, and I've always enjoyed that name. So where did that come from?
So that came from Ted. So I got a little bit of property at my house, and I called it the ranch for a little bit, but I was actually taking one of my cars there, a little Porsche 914, and he's like, you're taking it to the Lost Cause Ranch. That's where everything goes to die, because I never finish any projects.
Right. Yep.
So, so that is the Lost Cause Ranch. That is my house, because it's the graveyard, and I have automotive ADD.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of that. Yeah. I mean, we all sort of drive an unfinished project around, whether it is, it's never really ever done. I think it's just an opportunity to road test it to see what needs to get fixed next. So I think that's what
I'm usually just happy if I can get it to the driving point. But
yeah, it's a good point.
That's a rarity as well.
So you guys, it sounds like, started off or didn't start off, but for a little while ran a Porsche sort of service business, a customer-facing Porsche like repair sort of business. So what was the story behind that?
So we ran. It was European based.
Okay.
And we're in Iowa, so if we could do just Porsche stuff, we would have. But we had to branch out further than that, and we started off as a used car dealer, essentially. Doing that, and then just branched into the service out of necessity, I should say, for all the customer cars. And then it bubbled out into more than we were looking for. So we kind of dialed it back and just went back to our Land Rover centric, enjoyable stuff, the stuff we wanted to do. So a little more fun for us and a little less of the daily grind. And that's when we started into the YouTube a little more as well, just because we could free up a little time, because anytime you video something, it takes 5 times as long.
5 times longer.
Just doing it. Yeah.
I feel guilty anytime I do something and don't video it because I'm like, this is content that I'm not using. Like
it doesn't count then.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Most of the things that Steven does, I don't want video of it. Though.
But Ike gets it anyways. That stuff, that's a private channel that Ike has set up.
That's a different Patreon.
Yeah, that's a whole different. That's on our OnlyFans. That's the Underpowered Hour OnlyFans. It's just me greasing bearings for all day. Yeah, different kinds of grease, different sizes of bearings, whatever you're into. We got it all. We got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, at least we know where the money comes to fix all your Land Rovers.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Hey, it's a niche crowd, but they're deeply invested. They're deeply invested. So yeah, Ike principally among them. So you decided then wind down the Porsche or European auto business, get more focused on the Land Rovers. So the LS swaps and stuff that you do, the builds that you're doing, are those ultimately building for customers? Are they to be sold in the future? Are they for your personal collection? What's the long-term goal with something like the Defender, for instance, that you're building?
So the LS swap stuff that we have currently, everything we do now, we own.
Okay.
So it's everything in the shop is something we own.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the stuff is sold or deposit taken before it's ever finished lately, just because of the interest in it. So like the Defender is spoken for already.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
So
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead,
I was wondering when you were like, we never finish any projects. It's like, is that something you really want to tell people if you're working on for other people? It'll be fine.
That's why we just don't take any customer work.
It's fine. Yeah, you just don't take any customer
because we don't finish it.
Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah. So no, it's all our own personal stuff. We're keeping some of it, and some of it's to be sold. So just a mix of that stuff, and like I said, most of it gets spoken for beforehand, especially with the YouTube stuff. There's always people asking and everything, just because.
So you're not looking to do a sort of, LS swapped Defender production line anytime soon. There's no plans of the Lost Cause Ranch branded rebuilt Defenders or anything like that. Much more niche and interesting sort of stuff instead.
Yep, and we'll keep switching between stuff beyond LS swap as well. Just anything that kind of piques our interest. Ted's got engine on back order for the 88 right now as well. Not an LS, little Cummins R28s or
cool.
Those as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, that's very cool. I know a lot of people who've done the Cummins drop-ins for the Discoveries, and so it's a very cool package. Like they do a neat that's a neat thing. And funny enough, there's actually not a ton of YouTube content around that sort of stuff. There's not a ton.
Nope, not a whole lot out there on that. So there will be a ton here coming up now.
I can't wait. I think that's great.
That motor's been put in a lot of series Land Rovers.
A lot of stuff,
yeah. It's a kind of a proven package. They put it in a lot of cars in South America and China and that sort of thing. They're popular. A friend of mine's got one in his Defender. He really likes it.
Does he like it? Oh, good.
He does. I don't know. I'm always like, I had a Cummins in a 88 in the early 2000s, and it was a 6-cylinder A series turbo diesel that was used in UPS trucks. And that car or that motor, it was nice. It was like designed to be a replacement for the Chevy 6-cylinder engine. And I liked it, but what I found that as soon as Cummins, stopped using it in their delivery vans, they stopped producing parts for it. So I was really hesitant to do all this work to engineer this whole package to go in a vehicle to then have the parts availability dry up prematurely.
Yeah.
But I think that's not necessarily going to be the case with the 2.8 because it's been put in a lot of vehicles, factory production vehicles around the world. So I think it'll probably enjoy better parts availability for a longer period of time. That
2.8, they have a sort of like a crate kit as well. I think they're kind of encouraging people to do that. So hopefully, hopefully there's a good stable of parts because I think that's really cool. I think it's a neat way to take a series that may have a motor that's beyond repair or something and be able to kind of make it a little bit more drivable. And ultimately, more people driving old shitty Land Rovers is the is the goal.
Whatever way it goes.
Yeah, that's right. However it comes by, I'm happy just to see one rolling down the road, under its own power. That's always something that makes you smile. So a little bit, let's dive in a little bit to the sort of Discovery 1, 2, that sort of generation. You guys obviously have a ton of Discovery 2. So those early discoveries, how much of that work are you doing so far as engine replacing and things like that? Is that something that you do quite a bit of?
Yes. So as you know, a lot of especially when you get into 03, 04, 46 ones, they start having cylinder sleeve issues. So there's quite a few of those out there that are noisy and start having overheating issues and everything. So that's why we started to go into the LS swap era.
I've heard that the cheapest way to fix an overheating Discovery 2 is to do an engine swap.
Yes. Yep, definitely.
Or depending on where you are, just get another Discovery 2. And,
yes.
Yeah.
That's not the cheapest way to fix it.
No.
Because then you end up with another one that
overheats eventually. Yeah, that's a good.
But it might. Point. You might get another 500 miles of Discovery driving with a new one. So
yeah. Every 500 miles, you simply replace the entire car.
Sure.
And you're good to go.
It's easy.
It's fine. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's fine. You just move your stuff. Maybe keep your stuff in a box so that it's easier to move it from one car to another, and then you're good to go. Yeah, you're good to go. My mom actually had both Discovery 1 and Discovery 2, and the block cracked in both of those cars, in one right after the other. What are the chances?
That's pretty good. The chances are pretty good.
I think that was a big enough sample size to know the quality.
Yeah, to know. that's the quality. Yeah, both successive generations both cracked. So you do so is there, what's the process, I guess, because of going through one of these Disco 1 or 2s and doing the LS conversion? What do you sort of look for when you're looking for a donor car, and then do you source the motors crate? What's the process?
So ironically, most of the donors come from either like Texas or out west. Like the last one we did was a California Discovery, and we got it shipped in because the ones around here, are worth doing. We've fixed frames and done rear chassis on them before, but it's just not feasible for how available they are, especially by you guys and stuff.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is start with a good clean one, typically with baked off paint, because they either have no paint or rust is how it seems to go.
Yeah.
So we go that route, and then just go through anything mechanical wise and bring it up to snuff on that. But lately we've been using a kit from Alternative Conversion Engineering, which it's a good kit. It is involved, but it allows the use of the factory cluster, traction control, hill descent, and everything, which is what I liked about it.
Right.
All being relatively plug and play. I mean, there's quite a bit of wiring, but all that integrates well, which makes it a neat experience that you just hop in. You can't tell when you're in the Land Rover itself that anything was changed. It just has more power and doesn't overheat. No,
right.
So, but it uses the factory transmission.
Nice.
So,
and the transmission is rated. That's fine. You don't find there's trouble with putting that a little bit more power through it.
A little bit more power. You wouldn't want to get crazy and do like the LS3 that we're doing in the Defender. Would toast the transmission on Discovery. Sure. So the LS3 that we're doing in the Defender has a GM 6-speed automatic behind it that can handle that.
Right. And it goes into the factory, I guess, obviously, the Discovery, because it's still connected to its transmission. But on the Defender, you're going into the factory transfer case, or you're going into a different transfer case?
Going to the factory transfer case on that. So we have a adapter from that two-wheel drive 6L80E into an LT230. And that came from Synchro gearboxes over in the UK.
In the UK, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So then the process to get from Discovery with its junked out engine, broken time engine, whatever, to the fully LS swapped car, what's the timeline on something like that? What about how much do you kind of think you're going to have to invest time-wise to do that?
Time-wise, we could, if we did just that and we weren't filming, we could do one in probably a 7 workday turnaround and still have a good quality going through. So I would expect 50 plus hours to do it correct with, and that's us. We build the exhaust and everything and strip the harness down and whatnot. So
that's not so bad, really, in the grand scheme of things. That's not terrible. So it's a reasonable, like, it is not a 6-month endeavor to. And does that kit include? Is that engine mounts? Is that transmission? That's everything that you need? The adapter plate, everything that you need.
Yep. So it's adapter plate, bell housing. They got a custom welded bell housing. Got the flex plate and engine mounts. You have to source the standalone harness yourself and some of the ECU stuff for the GM side. But it has adapter brackets, and it actually uses the Land Rover AC compressor and alternator power steering setup. So that's kind of nice as well.
Right.
So it's fairly complete, and everything that isn't in there, they have listed out.
Right. And you would do it. Yeah. Oh, cool. And then so far as the motors, are you getting those crate? Or are you getting lightly, are you getting used ones, or where are you sourcing those?
Most of the Discovery 2s are looking at good used engines just on the cost basis of, there's not a lot of people that want to spend that amount of money on a Discovery 2 to where you'd have to be.
Can't imagine why.
$40,000. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Got an engine that's worth $9. Yeah, I got an engine that's worth 9 times the cost. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Exactly.
No, it's funny. A good friend of mine, Ike and I have talked about this before. She had a Santana 110 that I believe East Coast Rovers did it is an LS3. What is that? What? It's not
East Coast Defender.
East Coast Defender. Sorry. It was not West Coast. East Coast Defenders. Right. East Coast Defender. West Coast Defender. I don't even know who that is. That's not a thing. But and she, I think the car's, whatever, $10,000, maybe $15,000, and $140,000 LS3 conversion later. But it is amazing. I mean, it is the greatest Santana Defender I've ever driven. LS3 Santana driven. It's also the only LS3 Santana Defender I think maybe in existence, but it's without question the very best one. And it is a hoot to drive. Like, it's insane and super fun. And it's not great off road, but I don't think that's really the goal. I'm not exactly sure what on that. I don't know what the purpose is exactly, but it is pretty awesome. It is super fun to drive, and it is fun to be able to peel away from a stoplight in a weird old Defender and
silly antique truck.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm I've said this before, like, it's not the next Land Rover that I would buy, but I do like the I like the concept, especially I think in LS1, like, it's a GM motor, the Buick block sourced in the V8 to the Land Rovers. It sort of almost feels like there's some
it's a next
iteration
there. Yeah. Right, yeah, it's not too far out. Yeah,
no, it feels good. And from everything I've heard, I haven't had an opportunity to drive one, but from everything I've heard, it just makes the Disco 2s just that much, just a really great kind of car that feels like it's going to get rid of a lot of the engine reliability things, but keep a lot of the great, the last of the sort of classic Discoveries kind of stuff. And I think that's really cool. Now, what do you think about rear airbags on the Disco 2s? Do you guys delete those? You put in springs?
Gone.
You keep them? Yeah, gone.
Yeah. Gone. Yeah, so no, we usually do just like a mild 2-inch lift on most Discovery 2s anyways, so we just get rid of the rear.
It's always kind of baffled me that they only had bags on the back. It's just sort of it feels so transitional that it almost doesn't make any sense, like just on the back. So, I get it, like towing, leveling, and all this sort of things, but like it's always felt weird to me.
For the first 6 months of production, they only had them on one side.
Just the left. Yeah, that's true. It was only the left side. Yeah, so you could make it sort of, higher, lower. If you had a particularly stout passenger, they would have to sit on the left side, so you could compensate for them. Yeah,
that was for the American market.
Yeah, it's solely for the American market. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. But I mean, yeah, I think that those. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the classic Discovery from a look standpoint. I think it's such an iconic 4x4, and sort of, I think there is no other car that looks like a Discovery 1, Discovery 2. That profile is really cool, and I obviously the camel truck that I have is a Discovery 1, and that's a great car. The old 200 and 300 TDI cars are cool. Do you guys ever get any of that sort of stuff? Any of the old 200 TDI, 300 TDI cars?
We do not. We had a 200 TDI Defender 110 that met its demise in our parking lot, but that thing was a blast too. But that was actually that was the last straw of our service department. We had it parked up top. We have a 2-level parking lot with a little slope down below. We had that up top, and we had a service customer come in and nose into that one, popped the transfer case into neutral, rolled it down our hill, totaled out 2 cars that we had sold waiting for transport. So and totaled the Defender out too. So so that was a great day.
You don't like to hear that. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. All right. Well,
so if you're looking for a project,
if you're looking for about half a 300 TDI Defender, so before, Joe, we start the legendary, some would say infamous, ICOS lightning round questions. Wanted to just check and see. So, what have you guys got coming up on the channel? What have some projects you've got going? Is there anything you want to pitch before we subject you to the lightning round?
So obviously we have the LS3 Defender going now, and that's just going to continue on. That should be up for the next 3 months or so. Going through that, we have the number 59 Nada coming, and then once that Cummins R28 shows up, we're going to go into a pretty extensive build on the 88-inch 2A, and that's going to be a very off-roady buggy style build to replace. Ted's got TJ Rubicon that goes off in the woods for Jeeps, so that's going to replace that one eventually. So
is he going to get rid of the Rubicon? He's going to swear off the Jeep entirely?
Yes.
Oh, that's a big deal.
He's got a newer Rubicon Jeep too, but the Jeep is going away. The old TJ is going away, which is funny because in the Midwest we're very tight and trees with our trails.
Right.
So Ted started off with Discovery 2s on our local trails and peeled the sides and roof off it because they're too tall. So that's when he switched over to a Rubicon, with that little Rubicon that doesn't have a top. So
right.
That's what
can't peel the top off if it doesn't have one.
If it doesn't have it, it's a little colder in the winter, though. Yeah, a little bit colder. Yeah.
And that'll be a hint on that 2A. Won't have one either.
Just no windshield, no top, no cage.
Just a heavy-duty diesel heater.
Maximum clearance.
Maximum clearance. Just fold that windshield down and send it. Yeah, that's fine. Safety third. Well, good. Okay. All right, Joe. Well, here you go. Are you ready for the ICOS lightning round questions? All right, Ike, take it away.
All right, Joe. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Stack of papers there. This is intense.
I don't
know that I've ever witnessed a stack of papers before. So, Jesus. All right. Okay.
All right. Gas or diesel?
Gas.
Coils or airbags?
Oh, we'll go with airbags.
Ooh. All right. Here's a toughie. P38 or non-CDL Disco 2?
I forgot to mention before, we actually have a P38 too, so we're going to go with P38.
Okay, all right. LS or LQ?
LS.
KM or KO?
KO.
Ooh, interesting. And the best way to get oil out of your underwear?
You guys wear underwear?
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. Nice work.
All right.
Good job, Joe.
Well, Joe, we appreciate it. It has been a ton of fun, and really excited to check out some of the new stuff you guys have up on the YouTube channel. For those of you who haven't been to the Lost Cause Ranch YouTube channel, check it out. Like and subscribe as we have. We enjoy the videos. My vote is frequent short videos. By the way, per your survey this morning, I
Appreciate
think frequent as a proponent of the shorter the better. Of course, when it comes to Ike and I, people can only tolerate about 45 minutes. Although somebody the other day said, it's a real disappointment when the show is in an hour, and I'm like, well, the underpowered hour. It's a joke about underpowered Land Rovers. The show's never actually an hour. I don't know. Okay, but anyways, whatever. But we love the YouTube content. You guys keep it coming, and I know Ted is very shy, but he's welcome to come on the next time you come on. We'd love to get an update on projects, and certainly when you've got the Nadas under restoration, can't wait to see that. And we'll look forward to chatting with you again in the future. And if we're ever out your way, we'll stop by and see if we can't knock a Defender into a bunch of cars for you.
Yeah, bowling for Defenders. And same thing, we're probably planning a trip out west in the Range Rover camper this summer, so maybe we can get connected on something depending on what time we go out.
Absolutely. I think that sounds like a huge Land Rover podcast YouTube universe crossover that the world has been waiting for. There's like 7 people that want to see that happen, so I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. All right, well, Joe, thanks again for joining us, and good luck out there.
Have a good one.
Take care.
Well, that was fantastic. I'm so glad we had an opportunity to finally catch up with Joe. Big fan of the Nadas. Now it seems like a stable of Nadas. Truly. They're collecting. They're rivaling the collection of Nadas that you have. And eventually, there will be only 2 keepers of Nadas, like the Highlander. And one will have to off the other in order to gain Nada supremacy.
I think I'm going to be down to 1 Nada here pretty soon.
Ooh.
1 Nada and 0 discoveries, although I will say my Discovery 4 and 3 knowledge, I feel, is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah. I have to say I've owned a Discovery 5, a 1, and a 2. I skipped the LR years, and I don't know, a little bit of me kind of feels like Liza's sort of talking about it, and maybe Jenna as well, is talking about what to do the Rebel Rally in. Maybe we'll get an LR4, maybe we'll do a 2A. I don't, there's a pretty wide range. And every once in a while I'll see like a really nice Series 1 Discovery that's like $1,000 or something, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape, and like nothing's too screwed up, and that's basically a Defender, so I have all the parts for it already. And I have to say, every once in a while I'm like, it's a neat car. I like the very original Discovery. It's kind of a neat car. Like I said, we grew up with one, so I have a soft spot for it. I think maybe.
I think that there's one feature on a Discovery that I think has carried through all of the previous Land Rover variants and models that really makes it, that ties it together, brings it into the fold, so to speak, makes it part of the mark. And that is the leaking roof.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the Discovery 5, the windshield leaked. It's amazing. Like, I'm like, this is a 18 Discovery, and the windshield is leaked. There's water on the inside of this car that shouldn't be. It is kind of amazing that Land Rover has been able to keep that through line. It's sort of like the hood, the soft top cleat that's on the side, of the Series 1 Land Rover being present on the Defender. It's the same sort of thing. The Discovery's being able to not keep water on the outside of the roof.
It's an industrial artifact.
Yeah, it's really important. It was part of the tour.
It's part of the design brief. It's like the roof must leak.
Must leak.
Yeah, for a while there, and I don't know if this is still true, one of the Discoveries, I can't remember if it was a 1 or a 2, you couldn't replace the seal around the sunroof.
The sunroof,
you had to buy like the whole sunroof, which is like $3,000 or something. so he couldn't replace the seal around it. And a friend of mine had one, and he loved the car, but he couldn't park it outside, so he put a tarp over it. It was just so embarrassing.
The first discovery that we had, now I'm thinking back, we drove under a tree and the sunroof exploded. But it shattered. So I don't know, something it was a hot day, I guess, and we drove under a tree, and one of the branches wiped across the sunroof, and it just exploded. It popped.
Oh wow!
And there was little tiny shards of glass everywhere. The nice thing about the Discovery is because of Land Rover's expertise in sealing sunroofs, making them watertight, they just went ahead and put 2 of them on that car. Their confidence that it would be, this would be the time that they finally, with the Range Rover Classic, with every Land Rover Defender that ever had a sunroof before that leaked like crazy, they're like, finally, we've got this nailed to the point where we're gonna put 2 on there, and it's gonna be, and of course, no. So
it's like
$7,000.
Sun sheet on the series models. They're like,
fantastic.
It leaks. Let's put another roof over the regular roof.
Yeah,
let's drill 500 holes to install it.
Same idea. Yeah. Let's make the seal integral to the entire mechanism of the sunroof, and just make you have to peel the entire roof off to get a new one in there. But such is life. So we've got some great stuff coming up, as always, on the old Patreon. We've got the weekly coming up very soon here. Weekly, twice monthly. One Ike blog, one Steve blog every month, just for patrons. So I'm not sure if that's an incentive or a disincentive to become a patron, quite frankly. But you can opt in or out of actually watching them. That is completely up to you. We've got some great content coming up from over the summer here. We're planning a whole bunch of fun trips back and forth. Hey, maybe we'll have Joe down for a little collab, for a little fun with Joe. Maybe I can drive one of his LS swapped cars. I think that'd be very fun. I really would like to. Like I said, the one LS, admittedly an LS3 swapped Santana that I've driven is super fun. But then again, I drove another friend's swapped Defender, and it was just awful. It was a death trap. They did a very poor job. This other one, they did a great job, and the stuff that Joe makes seems really, really good. So super cool stuff. And again, you can find out more about him at the Lost Cause Ranch on YouTube. Great videos. They're doing weekly stuff there. Super fun. I really enjoy watching it. And I don't know if it always comes out on Mondays. There's sometimes ones on Mondays, just like us. So we, as always, have lots of great stuff in the old Underpowered Hour shop. So head on over and check that out. We've got new buttons and pins, so you can have little buttons and pins if you need that. I guess, I don't know. It's good to stab your neighbor with a little pin, or if you're at a sort of a Land Rover enthusiast funeral, you can do the military thing and stab it onto their coffin. Maybe I don't know. Whatever you're whatever.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You know how the Navy SEALs do.
Show's over. Go home.
Yeah. All right.
Go
well,
home.
with that, unfortunately, my military funeral analogy has run us out of time to talk about Nando's. Get Ike's review of Nando's this week. So
damn it.
We'll make sure we make time for that in a future episode. And until next week, Ike, good luck out there, and we'll see you next week.
Happy trails. Take care.